Chapter 19. Survival. Every muscle in your body seizes up as the frigid waves of the Atlantic envelop you completely. You reach out, hoping to feel Theo beside you, but you feel nothing. You can barely think, barely move, but thanks to the thick coat surrounding you, you manage to keep a small amount of air in your lungs. You have to keep moving. Every movement is a fight against the cold sinking into your bones, but your furs lend you some buoyancy as you kick towards the surface. Can't stop, almost there. The cold is like a vice around your limbs, growing tighter with each passing second, but finally you emerge from the water and gasp for breath. Oh, God. The back half of the Titanic is still afloat, standing nearly vertical in the swelling waves. People are still tumbling from the ship's heights, their terrified screams ringing in your ears until they hit the water and fall silent. So many dead. Pieces of the wreckage, chunks of ice float past you, along with frozen bodies. One brushes against your arm, and your heart nearly stops. Where is Theo? Call out for him. Your limbs are so leaden you can barely move, but you manage to find your voice as you laboriously tread water. Theo! Theo, can you hear me? Your distant moans from the other poor souls adrift in the icy water, screams echoing from atop the ship. But no reply, and then... Violet! Violet! Relief washes through you as you see Theo swimming towards you through the devastation surrounding the sinking ship. His hands clasp yours, and for once there is no warmth to it. His hands are as cold as yours. Theo, you're alive. Thank God, I was so worried. I know, but we need to find something to help us stay afloat. If we stay in this water much longer. You and Theo peer across the churning water, searching for anything you can use. Your shivering limbs are quickly growing numb. Is that a lifeboat over there? A few yards away, you spot a large remnant of shattered lifeboats, hulls floating past. As you point towards it, the remaining half of the Titanic begins to slip beneath the surface behind you. There's a groan so loud it sounds like the world itself being rent in half. Now all the lights on the ship go out for the last time. As the unsinkable Titanic vanishes beneath the waves, the currents beneath you churn, tugging you into the doomed ship's wake. Fight it! Don't let it pull you down! Swim away. Yeah, Theo needs to swim himself, not pull on him. This way, follow me. Taking a deep breath, you kick away from the current, trying desperately to avoid its grasp. You sputter for breath as freezing waves toss you and Theo back and forth, but inch by inch, you swim onward, teeth gritted. At last, soaked and shivering, you both reach the shattered lifeboat. You and Theo manage to climb atop it before you collapse, trembling. The bag of personal effects you gathered during your escape is still strapped to your shoulder, sodden but intact. I wish I'd gathered some blankets. With the Titanic fully lost beneath the waves, an eerie hush descends over the darkness all around you. Even the cries from earlier have faded away, and the silence is almost more terrible than the sound. Anyone else in the water? Do you think they could have survived? Maybe, but I don't hear anyone. As the moments tick by, you hear an occasional creak from the pieces of wreckage, the soft crack of ice, chunks floating past. Everyone who was still on the ship, everyone who fell from it, they've... Theo's hand squeezes yours, although his touch brings you no warmth. They're gone. We can't be the only ones who made it. There must be someone else out there, somewhere. He nods, rubbing your hands between his. Distantly, you realize you no longer feel his touch. We aren't the only ones who made it off. There wasn't one other lifeboat left when the ship went down, remember? Some of the others must have gotten away safely. We just have to stay warm until someone finds us. Though he tries his best to hide it, he shudders as another chill racks his body. Poor Theo. I must be warmer than him in this outfit if only a little. The wreckage sways beneath you as he leans forward, pressing his cold lips to yours in a soft kiss. Touch me, Violet. What are you saying? We need to keep moving if we want to stay alive. The more we can help each other warm, the better chance we'll have. His words send a tiny spark of warmth through your body. Theo's breath mists as he looks over you, shivering but full of determination. Perfect time to get frisky. Wordlessly, you press closer to him, returning his kiss with a passionate one of your own. A hint of warmth clings to his lips, making you sigh softly. Reaching out, Theo lightly trails his fingers across your cheek, his hand trembling ever so slightly. His touch is no warmer than yours at first, but that slowly changes as he slides it to cup your cheek, kissing you again. You arch towards him, doing your best to ignore the cold and devastation all around you. Keep your eyes on me. Just pretend we're the only two people in the world right now. I always feel that way when I'm with you. His lips curve upward, his smile momentarily lighting up the darkness. Really? Leaning forward, he presses another kiss to your lips, this one less gentle than the last. Both of your clothes are soaked and starting to freeze stiff, but you feel some of the frost on your cheeks melting away as he kisses you. Really? Close your eyes, giving in to the ember of warmth building between you. For a long moment, you almost forget where you are. Almost. The ruined lifeboat shifts beneath you, buffeted by the waves, and another fit of shivering takes you. It's just so cold. Not sure how long I can take this. And focus on me, on my touch. Lifting your hand to his mouth, he presses a soft kiss to your nearly numb fingertips. Here, can you still feel this? Yes. And how does it feel? It feels comforting. Theo's touch is gentle, the heat from his lips fades all too quickly, but you flex your fingers, reminding yourself that you can still move them. I wish I could do more. You reach out, trailing one hand down the length of his muscular arm. He feels familiar in the best possible way. Just knowing that you're here with me warms me more than you'll ever know. Theo smiles, pushing the sleeve of your dress slightly higher. He trails his lips across the palm of your hand. This time you shiver, has nothing to do with the frigid water soaking through your clothes or in the chill of the air. What about this? Can you feel my mouth here? As he reaches the delicate line of your inner wrist, Theo presses another kiss to your bare skin. Warmth flares deep inside of you, your nerves humming with sudden energy. There. Oh yes. But what about you? You reach for his hand, your fingers caressing him as he brings his wrist to your lips. Pushing back a sleeve, you brush your lips across his bare skin in a whisper, soft kiss. That feels a little warmer. Yes. He runs his hands down both of your arms, trying to rub warmth and circulation back into them. It doesn't completely chase the chills away, but for the moment you feel a little more alive. The cold feels a little less all-encompassing. Let me return the favor. Theo shudders as you rub his limbs, flexing his hands as if keeping them moving is the only staving off frostbite. But before long, your movement slows. It's hard to find the energy for anything besides breathing, besides staying afloat on the wreckage. Come here. He wraps his arms around you once more. You take one of his hands, clinging to him as tightly as you can. We're doing our best, but God, I'm not sure how long we can stay here like this. Time passes more and more slowly as you and Theo drift through the darkness. Each minute feels like an hour. Each hour feels like eternity. Do you see anyone out there? No movement yet. The waves buffet your tiny piece of wreckage as the night creeps on. Once, a body drifts by, completely frozen. You shiver, bury your face in the crook of his neck, and he shudders beneath you. You both lie still for several long minutes. Keep talking to me, Violet. You need to stay awake. You know that he's right, but you're just so cold. Your eyes flutter shut. You aren't sure how long you drift there, between consciousness and oblivion, before you feel Theo shaking you. Violet, please. You need to wake up. Theo? Wearily, you open your eyes, his words echoing distantly in your ears. Theo's crouched over you, his entire body slumping with relief. That's it. Stay with me. Please, stay with me. I'll try. But the cold is overwhelming. The next time you swim numbly back into consciousness, you realize you're not even shivering anymore. My body doesn't have the energy for it. It feels like you've spent a lifetime desperately clinging to the wreckage, but at a certain point, your limbs lose all feeling. Theo, are you still there? Next to you, he has gone terribly quiet. Theo, answer me. He barely stirs, his voice trailing off in the frigid night air. Willing your own frozen limbs into motion, you gather him in your arms and press a kiss to his lips. Stay with me. You've got to stay with me. You kiss him again, and this time he sighs softly, a small sign of life. Violet. His eyes flutter shut, his chest rises and falls in a shallow breath, but despair washes through you, even colder than the cruel ocean. No, I can't lose you. Not like this. You cradle the man you love in your arms, willing whatever warmth is left in your body to lend itself to him. You're supposed to get a ship of your own. We could make a home together. A fresh start away from my... Splash of oars suddenly echoes through the night. A voice calls out across the water. Hello? Is anyone alive out there? A lifeboat. Hold on, Theo. Someone's coming for us. Help! We need help! Theo stirs weakly as you try to call out, but your voice trembles and cracks with the cold, barely loud enough for you to hear. You see the distant light of lanterns across the water, but you can't see the lifeboat itself, which means they can't see you. Call out as loud as I can. Gathering every ounce of strength left in you, you cry out again. Here! We're here! Help us! Even though the words painfully scrape against your throat, they ring loudly out across the water. This way! I heard something! You scramble to your knees, and as you pull Theo up from with you, a lifeboat emerges from the icy mist. A familiar figure stands at its bow. Violet, Theo, oh God! Help them aboard at once, everyone! Find some blankets! Loretta and the other lifeboat passengers quickly pull you aboard. She wraps you both in a blanket, hugging you tightly. You're the first friends I've seen since all this horror started. I tried my best to look for you and Adele on the deck, but the crew ushered me on one of the first lifeboats. I'm just glad you found us. You wrap the blanket more tightly around Theo's shoulders, holding him in your arms. And to your relief, he stirs again. Theo, are you still with me? Please say something. You can take my blanket. I just need you to be... As you start to shrug off your own blanket, Theo rouses, lifting one cold hand to catch yours. He shakes his head slowly. I'll be all right. I'm not going anywhere. As the initial adrenaline of your rescue begins to fade, you huddle with Theo and the other survivors, doing your best to stay warm. Though it feels as if the night will never end, the darkness slowly begins to soften, and then eventually in the distance. Is there something moving on the horizon? It's a ship! A steamboat with a single smokestack heads towards you as you all lift your voices, waving and shouting. Lower the ladders, men! We've got another lifeboat over here! You and the others on your lifeboat are brought aboard the RMS Carpathia. As the crew and passengers hurry about the deck, helping other survivors aboard, you spot a few familiar faces among the chaos. Managed to scrounge another blanket for you, Will. Here, pull it around your shoulders. You're too good to me, Terry, but I think that poor family could use the blanket more than me. Papa, I'm still so cold. I know, sweetheart. The important thing is that we're safe. We'll have the rest of our lives to be warm. It's gonna take me the rest of my life to get this damn bandage tied. I'll greet the family. Pride and happiness wash through you in equal measure as you hurry forward to greet the family. Look, Papa, it's our hero. If it wasn't for you, we'd still be trapped on that terrible ship. I'm not sure what we can do to repay you both. There's no need for thanks. We're just glad you all made it. Although you're happy to see people you recognize, you notice that far more faces are missing. I don't see Samuel anywhere, or Anaya and the others. God, they never got out. You spot some of the wealthier passengers and crew rubbing shoulders with the survivors from third class. Is anyone listening to me? I demand to be shown to a first-class room immediately. I say, did Lord Dupont make it aboard? Has anyone seen Lord Dupont? Has there been any word of Lieutenant Campbell or Captain Smith? I saw the captain heading towards the bridge, sir, just before the Titanic snapped in half. Your heart breaks even further as you catch a glimpse of Elsie, hurrying desperately through the crowd. Please, and has anyone seen my fiancé? His name is Hans. He must be here somewhere. But the passengers around her only shake their heads. Elsie collapses, tears streaming down her face as she rocks back and forth in despair. Almost everyone here seems to have lost someone, and I've seen no sign of Adele. Although the Carpathia's crew are doing their best to offer medical attention, they're clearly outnumbered by the survivors. There must be something we can do to comfort these people. I'd love to lend a hand if you're up for it. Some of them might even have news about your sister. Eagerly, you and Theo approach one of the Carpathia's crewmen. Excuse me, sir, we don't know much about medicine, but we'd love to help if we can. Just point us in the right direction and we'll do our best. Of course, Lord knows these poor people can use all the help they can get. He directs you towards a haphazard pile of food, blankets, and medical supplies. Just pitch in wherever you can. I can handle passing out some warm meals. As Theo begins to distribute food to the line of waiting survivors, you catch sight of Mac, who's wincing slightly as he waits for another blanket. Okay, Mac, now we've learned something. Don't bend your elbow like that for a while. He's got banged up pretty bad in the boiler room. He's lucky nothing's broken. Then let's at least get him cleaned up. Grabbing a roll of clean white gauze from the supplies, you hurry over to Mac with Theo in tow. Let us take a look at that. That's awfully sweet of you, but please don't worry about me, Miss Violet. I'm sure lots of other folks need your help more. You do too, Mac. A furnace door nearly crushed you. At least let her take a look, please. Mac finally nods, and you begin to clean an angry-looking wound on his arm. He winces a little as you slowly wrap fresh gauze around it. Give it to me straight, Doc. Am I gonna make it? You're much braver than you let on. We never would have left you behind in the boiler room, but to worry about us in a time like that, you're a good man, Mac. Mac ducks his head, trying to hide his sudden, shy smile. Ah, shucks. Anyone would have done the same. No, Mac, most people wouldn't. Finishing Mac's bandage, you reach out, laying your hand softly on his arm. Theo's right. Many people here were brave, but some were only interested in helping themselves. You showed your true colors last night, and I'm proud to call you my friend. Likewise, Miss Violet. Mac smiles in gratitude, thanking you for your help as he flexes his arm back and forth. Look at that. It feels even better than new. I'm glad. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think there's someone else who needs my attention. Over Mac's shoulder, you catch a glimpse of a familiar-looking girl waiting in line with her family. You hurry over, pulling the doll from the small bag around your shoulder. Excuse me, miss, but I believe this may belong to you? The girl's eyes light up with happiness, taking the doll from you. She hugs it eagerly to her chest. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. She'll sleep much better with her favorite dolly. Thank you so much for everything. I just hope it brings her some comfort. Theo smiles at you as he hands out another blanket to one of the survivors. But as you watch, his smile suddenly fades. Turning to follow his gaze, you see a small boy wandering aimlessly about the deck. Papa! Papa, where are you? I know that boy. He was in the infirmary when Theo and I brought the kids' toys. Your heart fills with pity as you and Theo hurry over to the boy. He peers up at you both with wide, expectant eyes. I remember you. You gave us toys one time. That's right. We're here to help if we can. Then, can you help me find my papa? He told me to get on a lifeboat, but then he didn't get on behind me. We'll try our very best. Over the boy's head, Theo shoots you a worried look as, lowering his voice, he pulls you to one side. What if his dad never made it off the Titanic? Maybe he didn't, but there's no point in assuming the worst. Even after everything that's happened, we have to have hope. Theo smiles tenderly down at you, his eyes shining with pride. You're right. Now let's find his father. Theo kneels down to look the boy in the eyes, his voice soft. What's your dad's name, little lad? John Miller, and I'm James. Determinedly, you and Theo take the small boy's hands, calling out for his father as you set off across the deck. Mr. Miller! Is there a John Miller here? Anyone seen John Miller? At first, there's no reply. Passengers around you shake their heads regretfully as you pass them. I think there was a Miller in a cabin near ours, but I haven't seen him since... James! James! Papa! James's eyes light up as a man rushes through the crowd and wraps him in his arms. The boy clings to his father, tears running down both their cheeks. I told you I'd be on the next lifeboat, didn't I? I know. I was just so scared. The sight makes your heart lift. It also reminds you of your own family. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't suppose you've seen my sister anywhere. Adele Calhoun? She looks like me, only a bit older, always seems ready to scold you. I don't think so, I'm sorry. It's all right. We'll keep asking around, Violet. Someone has to know something. But so many people are still missing. Spot Elsie still huddled by herself at the front of the deck, alone and bereft. You and Theo quickly move to join her. I'm so sorry about Hans, Elsie. I know how much you loved each other. Things like this are tough, consoling someone. You never really have the right words, you know? You really don't. You feel like you could never say the right thing. I know how much you loved each other. He was just there. It doesn't feel real. It feels so hollow. You think about close you came to losing Theo, and your heart aches with sympathy. I know nothing can take that pain or love away. But once we get to New York, if you'll give me your address, perhaps Theo and I could look in on you. You shouldn't have to grieve alone. Thank you, that's very kind. Theo reaches into his pocket, handing Elsie the small bag he withdrew. I'm sure it's not much comfort right now, but I managed to save some valuables from your room. I'm sure he'd want you to have them. Elsie gazes up at Theo in surprise, blinking away some of her tears. Thank you. I wasn't sure how I'd get home, but This will get me a train ticket. Keep me on my feet while I'm on my own. As you and Theo turn away, giving the grieving young woman her privacy, Theo reaches for your hand. As his warm, steady fingers close around yours, you instantly feel safer. Seeing Elsie like that makes me realize just how lucky we are. Everyone here has lost so much, but somehow we still have each other. You squeeze Theo's hand tightly, clinging to him as though you'll never let go. On instinct, you glance around to make sure no one is watching too closely, and then realize it doesn't matter. I've survived far too much to care about what anyone thinks of me being with the man I love. You press a soft kiss to Theo's cheek, the familiar scent of his skin is a comfort that makes your heart lift. What was that for? Setting yourself against his chest, you smile up at him. To remind myself that you're real, and that I'm the luckiest girl in the world. Actually, speaking of luck, I was lucky enough to find a few things in all the chaos. Reaching in the bag hanging from your shoulder, you pull out his fiddle. You saved my fiddle? I'm sure it's a little waterlogged, but you know. And one more thing. Reaching into the bag once more, you pull out the hat that the Captain Smith once gave him. Theo's eyes light up at the sight of it. He shakes his head in disbelief, gazing at you in wonder. I can't believe you took the risk to save this for me. I'd risk anything for your happiness, Theo. I thought you knew that by now. I should have, shouldn't I? Violet Calhoun, you are a wonder and a treasure. He reaches up to softly brush his fingers across your cheek. Across the deck, you see Mac sitting with a young girl and her family, waving his bandaged arm as he helps distract the girl from the night's horrors. My mother taught me an old trick to keep the nightmares away. Do you think your doll there would want to hear it?
Yes, maybe she can share it with me.
James and his father sit side by side, talking softly. Relief shines in his father's eyes. I'll never leave you like that again, I promise. And although Elsie sits alone, she's cradling the bundle you saved for her. Thank you, Hans. You'll help me get home, and then I'll have time, at least, to learn how to live without you. I'm glad we could provide some comfort, but I can't help feeling as though I'm about to keel over. Theo gives a tired nod, his eyes rueful. We've been through hell, just like the rest of them. Let's head inside and find somewhere to sleep. Many of the Carpathia's passengers have given their rooms to the survivors, so you find yourself in a lavish first-class stateroom. You collapse on the silk bed, and Theo sighs with relief as he sits beside you, glancing around at the fine furnishings. I didn't realize how exhausted I was until this moment. To be fair, up until now, we haven't had a moment to spare. He's right. As you sit quietly in the bedroom, the weight of everything you've experienced truly sinks in. Everything you've survived. I feel so numb. It all feels like a horrible nightmare. Now that we're finally waking up from it, I hardly know how to feel. I don't think there's any right way to be feeling right now. But more than anything else, I'm just glad you're alive. He reaches out to take your hand, and his touch washes away some of the cold that still feels etched into your bones. I don't know what I would have done if I'd lost you. You cup his cheek, gazing into his eyes. But you didn't lose me. I'm right here. For now, yes, but after everything that's happened, I have to ask, do you still want to run away with me? I'd understand if things have changed. I know Adele's still missing. You might be all your family has. Theo, my love for you will never change. Being with you isn't running away from anything. It means running towards our future together. If there's one thing tonight has taught me, it's that that very moment we have is infinitely precious. I'm done hiding and waiting. I never want to be apart from you again. The smile that spreads across Theo's lips is like a dawn breaking through the deepest night. Good, because I couldn't bear spending another second without you. Taking you in his arms, he dips his head to capture your mouth in a passionate kiss. Despite all you've been through, maybe because of him, your body responds to his touch with an urgency you've never felt before. Theo. Desperately, you pull him closer, but even as you revel in the heat of your need, your body trembles with the memory of all you've endured. Promise me this is real. Just some dream. Promise me we really made it out. Theo pulls back just far enough for you to see the earnestness in his eyes. This is real, Violet. You're here, you're alive. Sliding his hands across your waist, he pulls you flush against him. Desire courses through you so sharp it takes your breath away. Let me prove it to you. I know my sister may still be out on the waves, freezing to death, or already dead. And I know we've just had to endure probably one of the most physically strenuous things in the world, but hey, let's mount Chicka Wow Wow. At his words, you reach for Theo's shirt, practically tearing the steel-sodden clothing from his shoulders. You've never been more desperate to feel the warmth of his bare skin beneath your fingertips, the heat of his naked body against yours. Then prove it. Your voice catches with wonder as you glide your hands over his broad chest, marveling at his well-muscled torso. His scrapes and bruises only highlight his perfection and make you realize how lucky you both are to be alive. As if sensing your thoughts, he catches one of your hands in his and kisses it. I'm all right, Violet. I'm still here. We're both still here. And let me feel you. Dip my hands lower, kiss my way down his chest. Eager to demonstrate your desire, you push him back against the bed, straddling his waist. For the final passionate kiss, you make your way lower, pausing only to linger at the hollow of his throat. Oh. Theo arches upward as you scrape your teeth down his chest, savoring the salty sweet taste of his skin. Lower and lower, you kiss your way down his... downward, licking the hard, flat planes of his stomach as you reach for the top of his trousers. Can you feel my heartbeat? It's pounding hard in his chest as you kiss your way downward. The rhythm of it helps anchor you to him and this moment. Yes. Need washes through you like a storm. Your breath is coming in short, sharp brain. Sharp pants, I was gonna say, otherwise, but you... and you can only feel yourself glowing sleek with wine. I need more of you now. You can have anything and everything I have to give. Always. You tear open the waistband of his trousers, yanking them downward. Oh, boy. I can't take this book serious when it does stupid shit like this. At last! Utterly spam. You collapse onto the sheets, your heart racing and your limbs tangled with Theo's. That was... perfect. You rest your head against his chest, feeling the rise and fall of his breath beneath your cheek. Yes, perfect. Theo gently traces a hand over your back, rubbing soothing circles over your skin. So does this still feel like a dream to you? It feels like the kind of dream I never want to wake from. We've endured so much, so many things that I know will haunt our memories. But right now, it's a comfort to just think of this. You, me, us. I love you, Theo. No matter what comes next, I know that I'll keep loving you forever. Theo reaches up to brush his hand across your cheek. His eyes are shining with happiness. I love you too, and doing so forever sounds pretty damn good to me. You close your eyes, letting all the weight of what you've endured slip from your shoulders for now. Theo holds you as you fall asleep in his arms for the very first time, listening to the reassuring sound of his heartbeat. We're here. We're still here. The next morning, you've just finished getting dressed when you hear a loud knock on the door. You swing it open to discover Violet. Please tell me Philippe drowned. I know I'm cruel, but moving on. As you stare at her in shock, your sister's face crumples in relief. I just came aboard from one of the last lifeboats. They told me I could find you here, both of you. You follow Adele's gaze towards Theo, still curled up in the bedsheets, heart sinking at the memory of the last time she found you together. There's no anger on your sister's face this time. Instead, she steps forward, sweeping you into a hug. Thank God you're alive, Violet. Can you ever forgive me? Do I want to give a shit? Seriously. Alright, you know what, hold on. Before I get to what I gotta say, please remember that if you do enjoy the content, to like, share, and subscribe. Head down the description, plenty of ways to support, check out, ways to become more of a part of this community and this family. And without further ado, let me say the following. So I know that some of you have been like, no, this story's not bad. And I get that. That's fine. I myself, some of the elements of the story are really swell and everything else, right? I get the whole prose that you're all like talking about and everything else, but when it comes to stupid shit like that, right? I'm just sitting here going, no one, after being in freezing waters to where you were literally on your last breath and about to die, hooks up in a ship room, belt chicka wow. Listen. You know how you guys get the flu, right? You're like really cold, you're like shivering and you're under like 6 blankets, right? And you're like, holy crap, I'm still not warm, right? That's how being out in freezing water feels, okay? Like, that's how being out in the cold for an extended period amount of time feels, okay? You're not really thinking about bound chicka wowing, okay? I'm just saying. Yeah. Literally, that's all I'm gonna say. Otherwise, hopefully y'all, I don't know, let me know what you guys think, right? I always respect you guys' opinion, so let me know it. Sorry if I upset you by the Philippe joke, but, the writers wrote him bad. I wouldn't have mind when we first met him for the first few chapters that we were hanging out with him before the whole, him becoming a pompous douche as they wrote him. He was actually sweet and kind of nice and, the whole 9 yards. And I wish they would have made a compelling reason to be like, well, he's an okay individual. Yes, they could have wrote him a little sourish, but you have to choose. Right? You have to choose. And to me, that would have been a better story. You would have cared about Philippe. You would have not had as much drama with Adele, but you would have had love drama, right? You would have had to be like, man, who do I choose? And perhaps that choice also would have made some difference on who lived and who died. Remember when Choices used to do things like that? Endless summer. Fake cough. Anyway, yeah, that's just my thoughts. Without further ado, catch you all later. Peace out.